Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz, and it is time to review Bardo.
Yes,
This is the
indeed.
latest from Alejandro González Iñárritu, two-time Best Director winner, and it premiered on Netflix. A little bit polarizing, just like a little bit
Just a
polarizing.
little bit, yeah. No, it's received mixed. Obviously, there was that first take or cut that was premiered
Yeah,
at festivals, got really quite negative reviews. Then it was cut again, and this later cut has been a bit more positive, and I'm quite mixed on it. I'm quite mixed to give my overall
I'm
view on it.
mixed, but I think I'm leaning positive. I'm glad I saw this cut. I think
Yes,
that like
I
it's
don't want to
already
know what it was like
Yeah, it's
with
already a
the
bit
extra
too
closing.
long. I don't know what this was like with 30 more minutes because it already feels like there was quite a bit that could have been cut.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so I'm glad that it was cut because without having seen the original cut, it definitely feels like it improved it. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't get the negative, like extremely negative reviews. I feel like a lot of people were ready to hate this movie and just don't like Iñárritu,
Yeah.
which is fair. He doesn't have the best of reputations, but like this isn't the worst thing in the world. Like there's a lot about this movie to really like. There's a really a lot to like.
Yeah, I definitely don't get the extreme hate. I can understand though why people don't like it because I'd say here, like there was elements to it that I didn't like. I did think it was bloated. I did think
Yeah,
it was a bit self-congratulatory. All of these criticisms that people have had of the film, I do completely agree with. Having said that, I do think there is a lot to love as well. So if you can sort
yeah,
of take and the behind the scenes drama, I can understand why that would make you a little bit uncomfortable.
yeah.
But I think if you do look past that, there is quite a bit to love here, especially technically. It's a very technically
Oh my
competent film.
God, Darius
In your
Khoury's
E2,
cinematography is
yeah, exactly.
masterful.
There's so many great scenes, so many great long takes as well, which is unsurprising. Obviously, in your E2 directed
Yeah,
Birdman, but there's the party, or I guess television studio. It's almost like a
yeah,
party though.
yeah.
That whole sequence was amazing, and the party sequence actually
Yeah, yeah.
as well.
Even just the opening scene of him
Mm,
jumping,
yeah, yeah.
that's really stunning. Like, I wish I could have seen this in a theater because it's like
Yeah, definitely,
really stunning work. I think that country
definitely.
still is deserving of a cinematography nom.
I'd agree.
Like,
I'd agree. And even something like sound as well, I do think that was very well
yeah,
handled. And production, and even I do think this should be in line for tech noms. I don't think it will be,
yeah.
but it probably
He
should
does some
be.
really good
And
like perspective sound work.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
really really nice.
and
It isn't as good as
yeah,
Sound of Metal, but it was very reminiscent of Sound of Metal.
a
Um,
little bit, and it made me question like, how did you do that? Like, there are a lot of
yeah,
moments where it's just like, how are you placing the camera there? How have you managed to get that angle? How have you managed to get that
right.
shot? I just do not know, and that's what I did
The
really love
sound I
about
was a
it.
bit confused by as well. Like there's some crazy
Yeah.
sound synchronization during the dance sequence where there's like a song playing, but then it's like it's just the a cappella version of the song, but yet we're still getting like faint ambiance noises of the crowd, but then hit the noises that Cacho's character is making the protagonist. Like the noises of him dancing are like slightly leveled above some just like
Mm.
ridiculously good sound mixing, like
Yeah.
insane sound mixing. So
100%,
like
and you can tell, like, his attention to detail, like, in Inuriti, this is
yeah.
clearly a passion project, obviously, if you look at the story,
Mhm.
but you can really tell the attention to detail and the care that went into it. I'm sure that would have probably made him a bit of a dick on set, and not a very nice person to work with, but he did manage to produce, a really
Yeah,
very technically competent film, which I
yeah.
appreciate.
I do think part of the problem is that, like, I think that you can recognize that Inuritu maybe isn't the best guy, but we also shouldn't be like, also at the same time just like passing the blind eye to a bunch of white filmmakers who do the exact same thing,
Mm,
which is a problem because like there are people like I respect a lot of Inuritu's work, while also I can recognize that he's not the best guy. Just like people like Fincher and Tarantino don't have the best
exactly.
they don't have the best
No.
reputations on set. I still like some of their movies. I still don't like some of their movies, but I understand a lot of the frustrations of people just like singling out Inarritu as like, oh yeah, no, this guy's a dick, don't support him. When like, I
Mm.
mean, Stanley Kubrick, one of the most celebrated American filmmakers of all time, terrible to work with on
Famously,
set.
yes, yes,
Famously,
yeah.
a horrible
Hitchcock as
person on
well.
set. Yep.
Horrible.
So like
Yeah.
we gotta I think that we can recognize that Iñárritu a bit of an ass, but
Yeah.
also so many American filmmakers are also the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I completely get the frustrations of people just being like, oh, Iñárritu's an ass, and all these other people they're great. So like there can't be a double standard. So I just wanted to make that clear that
Yeah.
we recognize the double standard that
Yeah.
has had throughout Hollywood.
I will also say though, it does play slightly more comfortable in a film like this when it is about basically it's about him. We know it's about him, and it's him
Yeah,
going, "Oh, look at me being a director." Therefore, that does play a little bit more uncomfortably than with a film which I probably preferred, like Birdman,
I agree.
where that is
I love
less the
Birdman.
case. Even if the same trademarks and same features of
Yeah,
Iñárritu's style of directing
yeah.
still there, and it plays a little more comfortably when it's not
Oh yeah,
explicitly
yeah.
almost about him.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, there's intersectionality. There isn't like a black and white. That none of
No,
this is
no,
also to just because other people have done it doesn't excuse what Inuritu does. And like, I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about, like, just look up just stories of some of
yeah,
the things that Inuritu does on set. But like, I mean, yeah, there was also another movie by a certain man with the initials of Dor, DOR, that came out earlier this year, and like, definitely a pretty terrible person that treats people terribly on set and also just in real life. So like, you have to recognize the intersectionality, and anybody else who's going to be talking about this movie, recognize the intersectionality. It looks bad if you're just singling out the non-white person while also refusing to recognize all of the white people who also have done bad things on set. So I
yeah,
just
definitely.
wanted to put that out there. Recognize the intersectionality in the gray area of lots of just men in general who work in Hollywood. Not great dudes. Don't
No,
just single
no.
out one.
Yes,
So
the system is what it is, and
yep,
it sometimes can give you pretty great films. This mixed, as we say. But yeah, if we talk more about the film itself, I was a fan of the ambiguous ending. I did like that.
yep,
I
agreed,
liked how it tied it all together and it brought it back to the beginning. Just cyclical structures. They work
agreed.
because they're satisfying. So,
Yep.
but yeah, also I think it is important to touch on the performances here. Cacho is
That's
actually really
really
quite good.
good. He's
Uh,
very good.
yeah, Disselani had slightly less to do. I still thought what she was given was great, though.
Yeah, I thought the
Um,
child actor was quite good as well, in all
yeah,
honesty.
yeah,
Better than
definitely.
most child actors. He has a really good
Well,
dinner table scene with
yes,
Kacho, where
agreed,
he is
agreed.
actually able to hold his own with him very well. So yeah,
Mm.
I think all the symbolism works on its own. I do think that Inarritu went swung for the fences, and it didn't necessarily,
Yeah, I don't think it
entirely cross the
always
fence.
works. Yes, the
Yeah,
stuff with the fetus was a bit strange,
yeah. What is
which
it with Netflix and fetuses? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Blonde,
I don't know.
this. Like, what are we doing, Netflix? What are we doing?
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
there's no, like, I get what he's saying. It's about like loss and how he's always carrying like the death of his son with him.
Mm. But I
Um,
think we established that earlier already. I don't think we needed to
but
bring
there's
it
also like the metaphor
back.
with like I don't know how to pronounce them, like solidal, the lizard thingies, like, and like trying to carry them
Yeah,
around, and like losing them in the train. Like, there's a bunch of metaphors that are kind of tackling the same thing, and they're all visually very interesting. And I was never like bored by anything, but at a certain point, it felt a bit redundant. Like,
yeah. I did think he got a bit bogged down in them, and I don't think
right.
all of these sort of symbols that were at play were all entirely necessary.
You
If I'm
don't
being
need
honest,
3 or 4 different pieces of symbolism to get
for the
across the
same,
same
yeah,
idea, and
yeah.
it felt like he was kinda doing that, and at a certain point, I was just a bit exhausted with it, which is never something you wanna feel during a movie. But so, like, that I don't know if that entirely worked. As we said, all the stuff about, like, hubris and fame, it can come across a bit disingenuous when, like, you're also doing it about yourself. I don't
Yeah,
know, and it's, like, not it's also not like he's like making a movie within the film. So all the points where like different characters are saying how bad the movie is,
mm,
essentially, like there's a rooftop sequence where I think his name is Luis, points out, like, basically describes all the problems that I have with this movie, but like it doesn't make sense in universe because he's not like he's making a documentary in universe, but we don't see him actually doing that. We're just told. So then it just comes across like where he's telling us what's wrong with Bardo, and I'm like, yes, I agree.
yeah.
As far as I don't know, it didn't there it felt like there were pieces missing, which is weird because it's so long.
Exactly.
But like,
You almost don't want.
yeah,
I don't really think this film needed an in-depth exploration of the filmmaking process because I feel that that would have made it even less focused. Like it was already a little
but
unfocused
then
at
there's
parts.
way too
But
many
yeah, I
little
agree.
pieces of it
There's too
to
many
not
ideas sorts of playing around. I think it could
yeah,
have done with, as we say, a bit more tightening
chopping them.
up, a bit
Yeah.
more structure, and I think that would have played better.
Because in theory, this should be so much my thing. Like,
Mm.
very, weird metaphors and symbolism and like self-reflection and like that it's so much my thing. But it is just it gets a little bit lost in the sauce.
Yeah, and I actually do
Just
think,
yeah,
yeah, it was an
I don't like
interesting choice, like making him a filmmaker. I do think I really did appreciate all the US Mexico tensions, all of that kind of
That was
thematic stuff.
incredible. Yeah.
I don't know if framing it through the lens of this renowned filmmaker was really the right decision, and maybe it actively hurt the film a
Yeah.
little bit, because I thought
Frame it
all of
through, like,
that
a
sort of theme
regular
stuff was
person.
very well handled, very
It
well
was very
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you just frame it through, like, a regular person in almost this, like, dystopian, like, post-capitalist world, like,
Mm,
oh my god, that is, like,
yeah.
perfect. I
Well, I
mean,
think
all of
Iñárritu
the
felt the need to self-insert himself in, which I just
right.
don't think was
All of
necessary.
these self-inserts didn't work. Like, and I want to touch on that briefly. I loved his exploration of like America and how,
Yeah.
not great we are. And the exploration of like capitalism, like Amazon buying like Baja
Is
California. Like,
that
it just
real?
no,
No. Okay. Yeah,
but
just
like
checking, just checking.
probably could,
Because
probably could happen.
exactly, it genuinely could
It
happen.
genuinely good. But like, I mean, don't want to get too political. Not the biggest fan of capitalism. Not the biggest fan of how America treats other countries. As an American myself, so like I loved all of that. Like when he's like bringing recognition early on, and there's like that battle sequence, stunning,
Mm.
and he's talking to the American guy, like no, we won the war. It's like no, we you took it from us. Well, we paid this. Yeah, there's only this amount of money, right? Like just like pointing out all of the American capitalist exploitation of other
Mm.
countries and colonialism and imperialism and how that has affected people. It just would have worked so much better if the main character was just a regular guy and not an incredibly privileged, like rich filmmaker.
Yeah, yeah. No, I do think the dialogue as well was very like snappy, and actually the screenplay
Yeah,
itself wasn't really the problem in my eyes. Like all of
it was
the
the
sort of
overindulgent
tense
direction.
comedy-ish stuff, I
Yeah,
don't really know what to call it, but
the
like
score
tense
was quite good. The
awkwardness.
score was quite good that
Yeah,
enforced that.
definitely.
Like, there's a great
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
where at like at the
Mm.
airport, and like talking about like a place of home and stuff. And like on its own, fantastic scene. I just don't know how it fits in with everything else, and it kind of does, but then it's just like not really touched on again, and it
No,
like
exactly. Scenes like that just
it
sort of
toes the
furthered
line,
points that were already
right?
being made. Like I don't think they were necessary, really.
And that works as an experimental film if you want to do something like, and Lynch isn't necessarily experimental, but something like Eraserhead, where it's just like very disjointed and all trying to create a feeling, not a narrative. But at the same time, it feels like Inarritu's desperately wanting to create a narrative here, and
Yeah, it
not
feels
just
like he's stuck between sort of multiple ideas, and he just should have
right.
sort of picked a bit more of a lane. Like I appreciate all the ambition of it. I appreciate
Yeah,
the scale. I appreciate the symbolism stuff. I just think it was a little too unfocused, and it needed that structure that it just
yeah.
didn't have.
And like overall, I still respected and enjoyed enough to where like I do think
Exactly.
I lean positive. Like I would say that I liked this movie overall.
Agreed. I'd
Um,
probably, if we're doing scores, I'd probably end up around a 6.5 out of 10, maybe even 6.5, probably.
I'm probably leaning 7.5. Yeah, probably a 7.5 for me, close to an 8, but definitely 7.5. It's like overall, I like this. I'm just more disappointed because it could have been a lot better. Like it could have
It could have
had that
been.
extra step, and it could have been like easily one of my favorites of the year. And I just needed like one more piece cut down, one more connection made, and just
For it
not
to
feeling stuck in
tie
between
together.
narrative and experimental. Kind of
Yeah.
where it felt to me. So yeah,
Agreed. Agreed.
so just briefly, Oscars chances. International features should happen, and I think it would be a good nomination,
I
honestly.
agree. I agree.
I
And he's a
don't
big
know if
enough
it'd be
name for the film to get eyes
yeah.
on it
I don't know
itself.
if it's
So
my personal 5 for international feature, but
no, probably not.
I would
Probably not.
I would like to see a film like this get nominated just because I respect the ambition. So,
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting, and it will also hopefully compel Iñárritu to make more films in the Mexican language, because I
yeah,
do think the whole exploration of Mexico was very interesting, something you just don't usually see. So I would
yeah,
like to
and I
see
wanna see more of it.
a
I do wanna see
clearly,
more.
yeah, such a great director. Technically, like as I say, not massive fans of all of his films. I've only seen Birdman, which I liked, and I saw The Revenant, which I didn't like. But I
Agreed.
would like to see a director like Iñárritu bring this sort of Hollywood, just bold, bombastic stuff to
Yeah.
these sort of more grounded Mexico stories, which
100%,
would be
100%.
interesting.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. That'd be great. It should be in the conversation for production design. Sadly, don't
And
think that will
cinematography,
happen.
yeah,
But the production
yeah.
design is great. Same thing with cinematography. I just don't know if those are going to happen. Sadly, I just don't know.
Cinematography, there's a chance given how weird the category seems at the moment. Like there's just a
Yeah,
lot of
a
contenders
lot
right
of
now. So
ambiguity.
if it can
Yeah,
build that sort of momentum, maybe. But yeah, I doubt much will happen for this film outside of Indonesia.
yeah. Above the line, maybe a random Kacho nom. Maybe a random Kacho nom if they want to do an international actor and like he sneaks
Yeah,
in like Penelope Cruz. I guess that's
yeah, because I
possible.
mean, I would guess maybe the most likely foreign actor or actress getting would be Vicky Creeps, but equally
Or
actress is more
Kato.
stacked.
This is Kato, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Equally, actress is more stacked than actor. So maybe if they don't want to do Tom Cruise for whatever reason, I think that'd be a good reason. There's
Yeah.
plenty of good reasons not to do Tom Cruise.
Kato's better than him,
Maybe
I would say.
Kato can. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like there's still people like Mescal there who should be in
I
over
prefer, but yeah.
Kato,
Yeah.
but like there's a chance. But as I say, for me, I would just be predicting international feature.
Agreed. It does deserve more. Even though this wasn't my favorite thing, it does deserve more. And overall, I did think positive. Would love to see this actually get in to a couple other places. But any
Yeah.
final thoughts?
I think we covered a lot of it. So no, but I would still check it out. Like I'd
Yeah, it's a
still
good movie,
recommend it.
everybody. It is
It
a
won't be
good
for
movie.
everyone. It won't
Yes.
be for everyone. But if you're watching this channel, it suggests it's probably the type of film
Yeah.
that you should at least check out. I would say.
If anything we said sounds vaguely interesting, check it out. I think you'll at least be intrigued. So, and it's at least better than Avatar. All right, thank you, everybody. We will see you all later. More reviews, more shortlists, more stuff over Christmas break because we're more available and we can do things. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Check us out on TikTok and Letterboxd and Twitter on the links in the description, and subscribe if you would like, or don't because it's a button. Who cares? All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and goodbye.